All right, everyone, we are at Monday. It's a brand new week, and yes, well spotted. It's not 7 a.m. when this video is going out. In case you missed it last week, I'm back in glorious, roasting hot, beautiful, never windy Scotland. And while that's the case for the next, I think, month or so, we'll be going from Celtic AM to Celtic PM. And yeah, I hope you understand why that's the case. Basically, the videos are going to be going out at 5 p.m. rather than what I aim for usually at 7 a.m. when I'm obviously the other side of the world. So that's the first thing I just wanted to tell you. And also the videos are going to be pretty sporadic over the next couple of weeks. I've mentioned a few times I'm off to Germany later this week for the Euros. Scotland are playing there, so I'm going to take a little bit of time off from making videos. However, I was going to take a complete break from videos. I am committed to doing 3 full videos while I'm away, Celtic AM in Germany, and I'm going to do those the day before each Scotland match. So there'll be a video tomorrow from here, and then I'm off to Germany on Wednesday, and as I say, we'll have a video going out. In fact, I've got it here quickly. We've got a video going out on Thursday, ideally, hopefully from the Allianz Arena. A video next Tuesday and a video next Friday. That's your lot until I'm back on Wednesday the 26th. So apologies about that. It was always going to happen this summer. The good news is there will be some videos, and obviously if there's any Celtic related stuff happening there, which there will be, I'll be covering that just in my normal way, just while eating a wurst and wearing lederhosen, maybe. I may actually, for a couple of those videos, make them kind of Q&A videos, because if there's not a great deal happening with Celtic, I might spice things up by answering your questions. So if you have any questions on Celtic, Scotland, the channel, me personally, anything really, batter them below in the comments and I'll get round to answering them if they're acceptable questions for me to answer. So give that a go, and as I say, we'll build it into while I'm away in Germany. So yeah, thanks for bearing with us, and yeah, PM rather than AM going forward, and 3 videos from Germany. That's the upshot. Okay, in terms of Celtic, what is going on right now? Well, Joe Hart appears to have left the building permanently. The club tweeted this on Monday afternoon, wishing him the best of luck in his retirement. Hart himself posted a video message to the Celtic support on Instagram on Friday. During that, he said, "The last 3 seasons have been full of ups and downs, but most importantly, full of trophies. You gave me a chance and a home, and that's all I ever asked for. And for that, I'll be forever grateful. But for the relationship to develop how it did, I literally don't have the words to say how thankful I am for that." So yeah, we've covered Joe Hart a hell of a lot. He obviously will be remembered extremely fondly as a goalkeeper who was part of a very successful Celtic side. 7 trophies in 3 seasons is pretty cool numbers, and I think he would have been remembered fondly regardless of how last season finished, for what he'd given the club, and I think the way he'd carried himself throughout his 3 years at the club. However, finishing it the way he did, both winning the league and the Scottish Cup in his very final match of his career, I think we'll have him remembered extremely fondly in years to come, and I get the feeling he's going to be back at Celtic Park, maybe even in the standing section at some point in the coming years. He's also on, I think, BBC, part of BBC's coverage for Euro 2024 as well, so that may be worth watching as well if you're not off out in Germany, like 40% of Scotland will be. So yeah, now it's just about Celtic looking to find a new goalkeeper and a few other positions we require as well. Now, Adam Idah is going to be a big talking point throughout this summer. He already has been. It's going to continue to be the case. He's out in Portugal at the moment with the Republic of Ireland set up. They're playing Portugal tomorrow night. And there's actually some quotes today from him. He's been asked in the media out in Portugal about potentially moving to Celtic. And he's not given much away. Quoted as saying, "I'm still contracted to Norwich and have 4 years left there. I'm still going back to Norwich as it stands. I haven't really thought too much about it." Well, that makes one of you, because everyone else is thinking a lot about it. "I spoke briefly to Norwich about when I'm coming back. It's difficult at the start of the window as it's coming up to our summer holidays and we're on internationals right now. I've never been in this situation before and don't know much about how it works." He was then asked if he would like to sign for Celtic. He said, "Look, I'm still at Norwich and I have 4 years at Norwich. They are my parent club and I don't know what's going on. Going to Celtic really brightened it up for me and gave me a lot of confidence. For a striker to have that confidence is amazing." Do you think Adam Idah knows what's going on? I mean, he said about 4 times there that he doesn't know. Yeah, I know those quotes, a bit like after the Scottish Cup final, maybe a little frustrating for some of you. Some out there, I don't want to point fingers, but some of you might even be, worrying and thinking, nah, this isn't going to happen. He's going to go to Norwich City and stay there. And I think, personally, let's just relax. I think he's just playing the game here. He is a Norwich player. He's not just a Norwich player. He's a Norwich player on a very lengthy contract, as he says, 4 more years to run. I think he and Brendan Rodgers will have had a conversation, and as I said, late last week, Rodgers will have said something like, "Just trust me and trust the club. We'll get this sorted and you'll be back here next season." I mean, surely he wants to be at Celtic rather than Norwich City, given what Norwich City kind of thought of him. And I think he actually alluded to that in his interview. I can't remember the word he used, but he basically said something about the Norwich fans and the kind of media having a perception of him. And it's very clear that there's a far more positive perception at Celtic. So I think he'll be back. I know you probably want him to give a little bit more in the quotes, but if this, like, the shoe was in the other foot and it was like a Celtic player, say someone like Mikey Johnson, and he was given loads of quotes about happily leaving Celtic, you'd probably feel ever so slightly disrespected. So I get it from Adam Idah. He's a very switched on guy, knows what he wants, and I'm pretty sure he wants to come to Celtic. Celtic certainly want Idah. Rodgers does anyway. Let's just relax. I think it's going to happen. Bit of an update on the Celtic coaching front with the B team under 18 sides. Johnny Hayes is soon going to become the assistant boss of our B team. The number 2 to Stephen McManus. Dan O'Day's obviously gone on to a new gig. Still at Celtic, but doing something very different. Former Motherwell coach Adam Askar will become our under-18s manager. He seems to have pretty good pedigree. He's worked in a number of clubs, youth systems down south as well. Former player. So that's all well and good. Celtic certainly changing some things in the back room. And hopefully that's going to aid us getting more academy players through playing first team minutes, because I think that's quite important. Nicolas Kuhn, I enjoyed this one. Nicolas Kuhn has been speaking a bit about Celtic in his homeland, Germany, great country, etc., etc. And he's appeared to aim a dig at a certain club that play in blue and finish second quite a lot. He said, "In my first derby against Rangers, I was in the starting 11. We played away at Ibrox. In the first 10 minutes of a game like that, you can hardly breathe. But we quickly took a 2-0 lead. The atmosphere at that moment was indescribable. You had to be there to understand it. It ended 3-3 and afterwards they celebrated as if they were already champions. But after that, we dominated the league, played great games and got all the points we could. And then there was the derby at Celtic Park." I wonder if, just because he's brought that up about them celebrating like champions, I wonder if that was used after the game. Maybe not directly after the game at Ibrox, but maybe in training in the days after. Did Brendan Rodgers or even any players, Callum McGregor, Joe Hart, use that moment? You'll never get anyone admitting to it, probably. But I'm just like, Nicolas Kuhn, like, why would he be so aware of that? Like, I know he was there at Ibrox, but why is that something he would bring up if it hadn't been more of a talking point at some stage? You know what I mean? It's interesting. I enjoyed that. Kuhn also said he's buzzing to play in the UEFA Champions League and wants to be called up for Germany in the future. Now, I would say he's a little bit off that level at the moment. I think there's a lot more to come from Nicolas Kuhn. Can't say I've been totally bowled over by him so far. He had that kind of good run of games, 3 or 4 matches in a row. Kind of went off it a little bit actually after that Ibrox game. James Forrest obviously came in and it meant his game time was curtailed, let's just say. So I think there's a lot more to come from him. I personally hope that's the case. If there's not, then he's not going to have much of a future at Celtic. I don't know, maybe I'm slightly harsh. He did give us some good moments. I just think I want a bit more. So hopefully with a pre-season under his belt, he can kick on and work his way up to the German Mannschaft. Elsewhere in the world of transfer rumours, plenty of chat about a number of former players coming to Celtic. It would hardly be a Celtic transfer window without us looking to sign ex-players, or certainly rumours of that potentially happening. Why look forward at new, potential, exciting signings when you can just have guys you've already had in the past? I should say I'm joking here slightly because there's nothing to suggest Celtic are actually looking at doing this. I just find it kind of interesting how there's just loads of rumours. So we covered Odsonne Edouard last week, don't need to go back into that. Since then we've had Jota, Kieran Tierney, Stuart Armstrong and even Dedryck Boyata today. Now, as I say, all of this seems just to be rumours at this stage. A good chance that Celtic haven't even considered any of these players, but certainly it's getting people talking. Who would you take back out of that list? For me, Jota would be a no-brainer. Kieran Tierney, regardless of his kind of perceived injury troubles, would be a no-brainer as well. Armstrong, I think, is 32 now. Boyata, I never actually minded Boyata. I know he had some high-profile errors, Ibrox, Bayern Munich in the Champions League. But I think in general he was quite a solid defender. You'd be interesting to see him next to someone like Carter Vickers. Just bring them all back. Just bring back every player that's ever played for us, and we'll pick a team out of them next season. Probably still finish like 3rd in the league or something like that. Gustav Lagerbielke probably not going to be part of things next season. That's a huge bombshell. I'm sure he's given some quotes to Fotbollskanalen in Sweden. Apologies to any Swedes watching this. I was about to say something about IKEA there. Dear oh dear, my patter is absolutely horrendous. Anyway, Lagerbielke quoted as saying, "There are interested teams in Italy and also other leagues. Just like all other players, I want to play and make a difference. I'm ready to do so if the opportunity arises. It is difficult to say anything before something is ready. I have a contract with Celtic, but it's no secret that I want to play. I'm looking forward to the future. And I think I'll take a lot from Celtic to the next team I join." So see, he's already talking about the next team he joins. He's mentally checked out of Celtic, if not physically. And I don't really blame him, to be honest. He is so obviously not fancied by Brendan Rodgers. Seems like a decent enough guy, likeable guy. He was a big part of our celebrations, like on the pitch at Rugby Park, big smile on his face, which I really appreciate. This will sound daft. I don't know if I've said this before, but I really appreciate that when players who haven't featured much are still delighted to see Celtic winning. There's nothing worse and nothing more frustrating than being buzzing at Celtic winning the title and seeing some fringe player cutting about with his face tripping him on the pitch. I'll be in a Yeti. Just winds me up for some reason. So I was delighted to see Lagerbielke, even though he's not been a big part at all of the season, was happy for his teammates at the end of the campaign. So fair play to him. Hope he gets his move, finds a manager who likes him more than Brendan Rodgers and goes on to have a good career. Personally, as a footballer, I don't think we're missing a great deal if he moves on. I think there may be a reason Brendan Rodgers doesn't fancy it, and it may be a 4-letter word beginning in P and ending in ACE. pace. Just in case you didn't get that. Finally, Kevin Graham, who you may well know, got in touch asking me to give a shout out for a project that he's working on at the moment. Now, it's an EP featuring some Celtic punk rock opera tunes, it's a mouthful, about Henrik Larsson and the general road to Seville. I think one of the songs is called like Blackburn Rovers and one's called FC Basel and stuff like that. I listened to a few of the tunes, very interesting, but I think you'll enjoy them. And as I say, he's got in touch to me to give it a shout out on the channel, because very importantly, the project is raising money for a young boy called Jamie, who is fighting against Duchenne muscular dystrophy, a terminal disease which wears down all muscles in the body, including the lungs, heart, and brain. So it's a very sad story, but Jamie's family have raised nearly £60,000 over the past couple of years, and say they will never give up or stop fighting to save their son's life. I've attached a link to Kevin's work in the description. Definitely check it out, have a listen. I've also attached a link to wee Jamie's journey that is definitely worth a look at. And puts things into a fair bit of perspective. So feel free to check them out. Links in the description. And if you're able to donate, go for it, I would say. But definitely listen to Kevin's music. It's very interesting. And that's pretty much it. I'll be back tomorrow. One final video here before I head off to Germany. And as I said earlier, if you've got any questions for me for the Q&A videos, I'll probably do 2 of them coming up. Please fire them below.